So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up from home. Whoa!
Moments ago, the Green Bay Packers agreed to hire the former Arizona Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon as their defensive coordinator. They've made that decision. Gannon had interviewed with the Packers this past week. He had spoken to the Cowboys, who filled that role. There are other teams that were interested in Jonathan Gannon, but as of this morning, the Green Bay Packers have reached a deal to bring Gannon to Green Bay.
In Matt LaFleur, we trust? I don't know.
Oh.
That's Adam Schefter, ESPN. This is Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Thank you for checking in on me via the Twitter yesterday. That was very kind.
You're very welcome.
Somebody do a wellness check on me.
It wasn't even just the fact that they went with Gannon. It was how they went with Gannon, how it all played out. I was like, okay, all right, Trevor knows. He woke up this morning and he was able to say, by the end of the day today, Packers can talk to Jim Leonard. Nope.
Is it me or does it feel like junior high where you're like, God, I really want to ask that girl out to the dance, but I really like that one too. Like, I tell you what, I'm going to hold out on this just to make sure I'm able to talk to. She's on vacation right now.
Yeah.
But I know, like, I think she wants to go to the dance with me, and I definitely want to go to the dance with her. But I really I don't want to ask her until I get to talk to that one. But she's on vacation.
Right.
And right before she comes back, this other one walks up and goes, Timmy and Tommy kind of want to go to dance with me too.
And you panic.
Oh, hey, you know what? It's funny you say that.
I thought we were going to go together.
I was just thinking that I felt like you and I were destined to go to the dance together.
Yeah.
Does this not what that feels like?
Yeah. It absolutely felt like a panic move. But it's okay because we know that Matt LaFleur handles panic situations very, very well. So
you're not helping.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, all right, let's do this. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. Time to play catch up. Here we go.
Packers.
The news is out. Adam Schefter broke it over the weekend. The defensive coordinator position is filled. Former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon, now the D coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Nagler from Cheesehead TV, break this down, please.
Green Bay has hired Jonathan Gannon, who certainly was a disappointment as a head coach in Arizona, but is a very good defensive mind and has the background as a defensive backs coach that certainly served Jeff Hafley well, something that I think Matt LaFleur was looking for, and a guy who doesn't really get boxed in by scheme. I know I've already seen a couple of questions here about what scheme does he run? Well, he's been pretty malleable and pretty versatile, not unlike Jeff Hafley was in his 2 years in Green Bay. And you look at the work he did both in Arizona, but particularly obviously in Philadelphia, which got him the head coaching job. It's a guy who certainly knows how to put his players in the best position. Now, what will it look like in Green Bay with the personnel he has? That remains to be seen, but clearly Matt LaFleur interested and has pulled the trigger to hire the man. And by Tom Pelissero's reporting, it sure feels like and seems like Gannon had a couple of different offers on the table. And apparently Matt LaFleur didn't want to wait.
You talk, I'm out.
Okay, so Aaron Nagler, love the man to death. He is like you. They very much lives in optimism world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so for that to be the Nagler report on Gannon does not make me happy. I needed more from a Mr. Optimistic Aaron Nagler on the hiring of Gannon. Oh boy, there's a lot of chance that this could work out.
Why? Tell me why.
Because you did see as a defensive coordinator, he had success. it is true that some people just aren't good head coaches. Like they just can't be a head coach. That doesn't mean that they can't be a good coordinator. I think that we've seen that for years. We know that. We know that that's the case. Heck, some people think that that's the case with Matt LaFleur. So it's just the fact that he has had success as a D coordinator in the past, I think is something that you can look at and should look at factually and say, okay, well, this does exist, right? It's not the fact that you think, well, he could be a good D coordinator. I mean, he's had success there. Then it took him to being a head coach. He didn't have success there. And so now he's falling back into what a lot of people thought he was best at. So there is that. My biggest on the other side, right? Realism, look at both sides, is I still don't think that he's the answer, right? What Hafley really brought, what we saw, was a leadership mentality. And I don't know that when he was in Philly, he was bringing a leadership mentality to that defense, or was it just that defense for the Eagles was stacked? And it's a lot easier to coach when you have a lot of really, really good players, which the Packers defense, we have Micah Parsons, but besides that, we got a lot of holes.
We know that we have very little to no pass rush and no sacks and no game-changing hits without Micah Parsons. We know that we have to take away wide open touchdown throws based on our defensive backs and how they're playing. We got to get our defense off the field. Fatigue was a thing. Field position was a thing. I mean, we gave up how many scores over the year in just Oh, no, sorry, Josh. I was reading how the Eagles blew it against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
My bad.
There it is. Yeah.
That's exactly what we don't need in Green Bay, is all of the things that it seems like he comes to. It felt to me. Now, I'll give myself a little bit of credit. I wanted to go ballistic the second I saw it, but I responded to your tweet at Trevor Thomas IW at On Air Josh, and I said I'm processing because I didn't want to do what everybody else seemingly was doing, which was blow my gasket. Like, come on.
Yeah, and yet you know what that means when people say I'm processing? Usually grief. How are you handling that grief? Well, I'm processing it right now. He's processing that terrible thing that's happened to him.
To be honest, without a little bit of research, I didn't know much about Gannon. I don't spend a lot of time analyzing defensive coordinators or defensive minds in the NFL. I worry about them when they get to Green Bay.
100%.
Okay, he's here. So now I'm worried, right?
You're right.
The hardest part about this was that they didn't talk to Jim Leonard. And for days the last few weeks, we have been getting texts on the Nicolay Law Fan talking text line 414-677-1250 that it's just a Wisconsin homer thing. It's the only reason you want to talk to him, blah, 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 blah. Well, I had forgotten that they already talked to him some years ago, and that what Gannon said did not supersede, or I guess in this case did supersede, whatever Jim Leonard brought to the table. And so they took what Gannon said, compared it to what they knew about Jim Leonard, and said, we'll choose Gannon. Okay. Then where the hell did this report come from that there was mutual interest between the two? Because that's what got my hopes up. Like, oh, there's mutual interest. I guess we are going to talk to Jim Leonard, which, by the way, there was a window that we could have talked to him, but somebody said, well, Jeff Hafley was still here. Okay.
Right.
Like, I think the bet was pretty clear that Hafley was going to be moving on to become a head coach in the National Football League. But nonetheless, Gannon's the guy. We're going to talk about it every hour this morning here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. We'll break it down with you. Let us know your thoughts, unsolicited, you are.
They're already coming in.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan. Talking tech. Yeah. Yeah. Let's read a few real quick before we move on.
Okay.
The 920. So Green Bay settles for Gannon. You're kidding me. 1 year as defensive coordinator with the Eagles with stud defensive players, 3 year as an NFL head coach with a poor record. Well, I guess the saving grace there, Josh, is the Packers have stud players on defense. And with stud players, said defensive coordinator does well. That's good. People don't believe in this. 262. This checks out. Mediocre Matt was going to bring in the DC that is least threatening to his job. Packers settled. Ryan from the Falls. Based on what the Patriots done from the 920, there's no urgency in Green Bay. 920 again. Different last 4 digits. Oh, and now a whole bunch more came in, so my whole screen refreshed. Here we go. Gannon is what our old DC will be in 3 years. Very good defensive coordinator who wasn't good enough to be a head coach. Now he won't be poached in his first year or two with a good defense. Josh, do you see anybody happy?
No. Sure don't. Nope.
All right. Moving on.
Okay.
Brewers.
Murphy accepts an award with a bow tie on. And when he puts a bow tie on, comedy is right around the corner.
Yeah, the Brewers contingent was going to be here tonight, but couldn't because we're spending on money on lowering the soap dispensers in the locker room. Because we just picked up one of your prospects, Jet Williams. He's like 5'5". That's how we roll.
That, of course, Murph at the New York Baseball Writers Gala, which is why he's talking about picking up one of your guys, talking to the New York writers. That's where he was accepting his award for Manager of the Year, looking all spiffy.
When Murph did his tour, he called Durbin multiple times on his FaceTime and busted him up a little bit in regard to how tall or not tall he is. And then here comes Jet Williams, and he's an inch shorter than Durbin.
Yeah.
So Murph's going to have a heyday with these guys on the left side of the field if indeed Williams takes over for Joey Ortiz at the shortstop position, unless Joey Ortiz can figure out how to hit. But nonetheless, good to see what I would call the end of the offseason come to a conclusion for the Brewers and all of Major League Baseball. And I had a moment this past weekend where I was like, holy mother, this is the last season of Major League Baseball, potentially for a couple years. Like we were talking about things in regard to ripping the Band-Aid off over the weekend and how we make change. What does change look like? And with the Major League Baseball salary cap, how do you change it? What do you do? What's the fix? How do they even start the conversation?
That's why I don't know that this is really going to end in a lockout at the end of this coming season, because there's just so many things that would have to happen. And I think it's almost as much of a pipe dream as getting Antanasio to spend a bunch of money. It's like we can all keep saying, well, it's got to happen now. That doesn't mean it's going to.
Josh, when the CBA expires in December for Major League Baseball, who is going to have the problem? The owners, correct? The owners will lock out the players based on no agreement on how much they should be paid in the grand scheme of the league. This isn't a strike.
Right.
This is the opposite of a strike.
Correct.
The last time baseball did this, it was a player strike.
Yes.
So this is the other end of that spectrum.
And we don't know how that's going to go. That's what I'm saying. This is uncharted territory.
Yet again, spring training right around the corner. Nice to see Murph accept his second year in a row NL Manager of the Year. The guy's got it, man. And he can make players do crazy things that other players wouldn't have necessarily landed on other teams. These are guys that not a lot of people know. However, I don't know if you saw this report over the weekend. Major League Baseball rekindled their top 100 farm system players.
Yeah.
Jesus Mate is number 3 in the entire league. So we've got good young guys.
Yeah, a lot of hype. All
right, moving on.
Badgers.
Blew it. They did. It sucks. Wisconsin went on a 17-2 run to go up 58-46 with 12 to play. Okay, good. We got this one, right? Not so much. USC went on their own 16-2 run. When I was on my way out to family dinner listening to the football game, the AFC Championship that we do every Sunday, we go out to family dinner. And before that, though, I heard the Badgers were up 8 with like minutes to play.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Great.
We got out to family dinner, and my son celebrated the Badgers' loss. And I'm like, Badgers lost? How? What? What happened? Now, the reason he's celebrating is because one of his good buddies is a huge Badgers fan. And my son therefore is a huge Marquette fan because,
Yeah. You can't, and apparently you can't be both.
Yeah. So when the Badgers lose in fashion the way they did against USC yesterday, I guess my son's going to give his buddy the business today because that was a fairly epic collapse.
And usually I wouldn't really be that upset that the Badgers lost a basketball game, especially when it's like not in a tournament. But when no one else is winning, I need a win from someone somewhere. And so I've been relying heavily on the Badgers basketball program. And then they lost.
Yeah. Well, and good news, Josh. I mean, from a basketball perspective, we have nothing else to worry about, pretty much.
Bucks.
Oh.
Hey,
about that.
The Bucks didn't lose yesterday. Game was postponed. Postponed due to weather, so.
Oh, dude. Giannis out, what is it, 4 to 6 with the calf strain? Did he get his MRI yet?
I don't know. He's out again. We're 2 weeks away from the trade deadline, and I have no idea what's going to happen. I will tell you this. I saw a parody fake account make the announcement. They photoshopped a tweet from Shams saying that Doc Rivers was fired, and I was like, oh, finally. And then I realized it was a parody account, and I was like, son of a I was so mad. I cannot believe that he's still here. If he survives Giannis, if he's still here post Giannis, I don't understand. I just don't get it.
February 5th, right?
February 5th.
What's your bet?
I don't know. I'm going to say he's not gone.
He stays.
I'm going to say, and I think that this injury, another injury might have to do with it too, because the Bucks are still going to want to get a lot for him. And I don't know that a lot of teams, knowing how unhappy Giannis is, are going to be willing to offer that right now. At least teams that have the ability to, they might be like, nah, we're good. Like, we'll take Giannis, but we're good. We're not trading you everything.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talking text line. Do you guys think that Giannis gets traded, or is he going to stay? February 5th is the trade deadline in the NBA. That's next weekend. Not this weekend. Next weekend. Or next Friday? Thursday? Should he stay or should he go? Should we trade him versus will we trade him? And will another team, to Josh's point, want him, seeing as though I think we can say he's injury prone. Can we say he's injury prone?
I mean, yeah, he's absolutely injury prone. You can't deny, just looking back at history, the times that he's gone out, he's been out. I mean, with Holiday and Middleton, with Dame, there were way too many times when he was out, one of them was out. We didn't have our full arsenal available in the biggest moments.
We're playing catch up on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Before we get to the I Have Questions portion of the show, Packers got their DC. How are we doing? The Nicolay Law fan talking text line, 414-677-1250. We want to answer your questions, or frankly, just read your comments about whether or not you're happy with Jonathan Gannon being the Packers defensive coordinator.
Anything else?
Marquette lost on Friday.
Great.
GB basketball won over the weekend.
Yay!
Hey, and so did the Milwaukee Panthers in pretty cool fashion. Yay! We're going to review the good, the bad, the ugly in Wisconsin sports later on in the show. There's an incredible story that Lance Allen from CBS 58 in Milwaukee did on a player for UWM that had childhood cancer, connected that person with John McLaughlin and the MAC Fund. And of course, well, we'll just let you know how that ended later in the show. Anything else on your plate, Josh?
Laughing through the pain, my friend. Laughing through the pain. No, it's just I need baseball to get here. I need baseball to get here now.
I feel the same way. It will be soon. February 10th, I believe, is when Packers pitchers and catchers report. February 21st is the first spring training game.
Yeah.
You are caught up, Wisconsin. Statewide on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Good morning to all of you in Wausau listening to us on 93.9 The Game. 7:10 the game, loud and clear in Duluth Superior. Good morning to all of you. 12:50 a.m., 105.7 FM, The Fan in Milwaukee, where Josh is. What's up, Milwaukee? Good to see and hear from you guys. And where I am here in Green Bay at WNFL 99.7 FM in Green Bay and the Fox Valley. You're up to speed. Get your questions in. Jonathan Gannon. It's only a matter of time, Josh, until I call him Rich. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
I have to think that through every time it comes out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Jonathan Gannon.
I just dropped the first name. I'm just going straight Gannon.
Yeah, Gannon. New defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. We got our guy? Do you have questions?
He's our guy.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Hey, we could have a foot of snow. I mean, we don't.
Huh.
All right, the Packers are reportedly hiring former Arizona Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon to be their next defensive coordinator. Find out what the guys think on 9 to noon with former Packers fullback John Kuhn starting at 9 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Before those guys, you get these guys. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And we get all of you answering your questions. We have a couple of our own, too.
When things just don't add up, Trevor and Josh ask the hard questions or just point out how messed up stuff is.
I only have one question.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
Do you view this season as a failure?
You asked me the same question last year.
What's the most important question the Badgers have to answer Saturday?
This is a great question. Oh my God, this is a great question.
It's time for I Have Questions on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. Jonathan Gannon, reportedly, the Packers, everybody knows it.
Yeah, it's done.
The Packers got their defensive coordinator. Wisconsin, how do we feel about that? That is the question this morning. So many people already chiming in, and it's not favorable, Josh. There's just a lot of fear. Does that come from Jonathan Gannon and his history or his lack thereof history or him not great as a head coach? I don't know, man. What do you think?
I think it's a lot of everything that's causing the emotions and the feelings that people have towards this. I think it's the fact that people liked Hafley, and it was going to be difficult from a fan perspective to keep fans at that same level of happiness in regards to whoever was chosen, because they're being compared to Hafley. I think it's the fact that people are looking at his record as a head coach. I think that people have heard audio of him speaking, which we're going to get to in the next segment.
The not so electrifying sound of the day.
The least electrifying sound of the day.
Do you think there's legs to this, Josh? There are people on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250. They're saying that they can't help but think that LaFleur hired Gannon because he's not as much of a threat to replace him as others, such as Jim Leonard. That's Justin in West Bend, and he's not alone.
No, I don't buy that at all. I think that Matt LaFleur, despite this extension, his job is still on the hot seat. You know, he's still on the hot seat, and I think he realizes that his team needs to win. He can't worry about being replaced. He's got to worry about having the pieces around him to win now. I just think that when I look at this, and again, we'll talk about it a little bit more when we hear the audio, but it just sounds like Matt LaFleur is like a smart football nerd. And you have a lot of athletes that, need to be hyped up, and they're seeing like this nerd, and then the nerd goes and hires other nerds that like are really, really smart about football. But that doesn't mean that it's motivating the players that are actually on the field. I don't know that it has that, either of them. Go all three. Add Stenovich to that. All three of them. I don't know that any of them are motivating the players to go 110% every single day.
Jack in the 920. This is the most Matt LaFleur hire ever. He managed to find the only person in the NFL coaching ranks that's less inspiring than him. Reputation of blowing big leads and late in the game, check. Death by 1,000 cuts, zone defense, check. You cannot convince me at this point that the Packers will not finish last in the NFC or for next year. That's from Jack. Well, about the blowing the lead thing in the fourth quarter. Mina Kimes, help us break this down, would you please?
In the first three quarters, the Cardinals defense is first league-wide in EPA per play.
That's good.
And then in the fourth quarter alone, they dropped to 27th.
Oh,
that's not.
When I run back through their games in my mind, they were kind of bad in the fourth quarter.
That's crazy. But it also is frustrating because
Exactly.
But you know what I mean? Like, this
Right.
is not a bad defense. They have talent. I mean, God, like,
Because like if they were really bad in third quarters, I would easily be like, oh, well, they don't adjust. They got a good game plan. They don't know what to do with it. The fact that you're fine in the third quarter, that you fall apart in the fourth quarter is like you got to run more wind sprints. What are we in high school? What's going on?
Wait a minute. So are these stats showing that Gannon has a finishing problem? Perfect. Welcome
Great.
to Green Bay.
Let's pick up right where we left off, shall we?
We also have a finishing problem.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. That's the bummer part about it, Josh. We as Packers fans were, I don't know, cautiously optimistic in regard to who we were going to get and how it was going to feel. And right after we just listened to that from Mina Kimes and ESPN, you and I both let out a sigh at the exact same time.
Yeah.
That is not what we were hoping to see from a D coordinator position. Now, why does it make us feel that way, though? Is it his performance? Is it his lack of commitment to a scheme? We heard from Aaron Nagler earlier on Cheesehead TV. Like, why do we feel this way? Why doesn't it feel better?
I think it's because we're afraid that he's going to be less aggressive, that Matt LaFleur brought him on because his mindset and Matt LaFleur's mindset are very similar. And we're not necessarily always happy with Matt LaFleur's mindset. And so a lot of us have been saying, no, we need someone that's more aggressive, that's going to have this defense flying around the field. And I think we're all terrified that we just hired the next Joe Barry. Like, we just brought in Joe Barry Jr. to be the same thing of soft coverage, letting him get 7-8 yards, not giving up a big play, but also not bringing a bunch of guys for a sack or two. And that's terrifying. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm saying that's what I think a lot of us are afraid of, that is the Gannon mentality, and we don't need that in Green Bay.
Dave in Brookfield says, perhaps two wrongs do make a right. Both losing in the fourth quarter combined turns into finishing in the fourth quarter, right? That's how that works?
It could be.
The 920 says, the more you guys are dogging this guy, the more faith I'm gaining in him by the minute. Number one defense next year.
Good.
I don't feel, are you, I'm not.
I'm kind of dogging him. Yeah.
You might be. Yesterday when this hire happened, I purposefully did not go off on a dogging sprint to Twitter. I didn't have enough information. I'm not certain that I have enough information now. It doesn't feel, to your point though, Josh, like it was the home run hire.
Right.
Can you remember the last home run hire for the Green Bay Packers? The last home run hire in the coaching ranks for the Green Bay Packers. Can you think of a time when we were all like, let's go?
I feel like a lot of people felt that way when Hafley came on. I feel like a lot of people were happy with the Hafley hire right away.
Mm-hmm. That's because it wasn't Joe Barry.
Well, and that's exactly my point. I think that's part of the reason why we're judging Gannon so harshly now, is that you look at what you had most recently in comparison to what you have now. I didn't do what you did, and I went out and I just put my feelings out right away in regards to the Gannon hire, based on the article by Rob Domofsky and him talking about the fact that it was this, there were other people interested in Gannon, and he was worried that Gannon was going to be off the board if he waited even 12 more hours to try to talk to Jim Leonard first. And I said, sounds to me like the Packers settled for Gannon because they were afraid he might not be there after interviewing Leonard. Doesn't sound like a reason for me to love the hire as a fan. I had a lot of people that were going off on me saying, oh, so you're telling me that because other teams were interested in him, that's a bad thing? If other teams are showing interest and he still went with the Packers, that's a good thing. That should be a good thing. That's true. I'm not denying that. That is something. But that also, like, that's part of this game, right? Just because other teams are saying, well, we could also go with Gannon, doesn't mean that they are. Doesn't mean that they want him. It could have just been a move to force LaFleur's hand.
It worked. It worked. So why not Jim Leonard, though? There's a lot of chatter about them having mutual interest. Rob Domofsky reported that from over the weekend with ESPN. The feeling from the 920 comes from them not hiring Jim Leonard. He had a hell of a defense for Philly. This is Gannon. Probably wasn't built for a head coach, let alone the dumpster fire in Arizona. Somebody else, though, went on to say, maybe we didn't hire Jim Leonard because he runs a 3-4 defense.
Could have been.
With Micah Parsons, that's probably not the defense that you want to choose to run. But I also don't like this soft zone stuff.
Right.
And
I hate it.
And we will have audio later in the show from Matt LaFleur talking about that very thing when they played Arizona in this last season. So there's pros and cons all over the place. We'll continue to try to build this story, but at the end of the day, the proof is going to be in the pudding.
Yeah.
I would like to hear from him.
I don't know that I want to.
Well, that's exactly why I want to hear from him, because the audio that circulated from over the weekend was not inspiring.
No.
With fire and guts and buses and stuff.
Yep, that's
that's the most electrifying sound of the day.
That's the least electrifying sound of the day.
We're going to do that next. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Keep it coming. The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Wisconsin, remember, if at any point you miss part of the show, today, tomorrow, last week, whatevs, open your favorite podcast platform, type in Inside Wisconsin Sports, and there you go. You can listen however, whenever, wherever you would like. Just search for Inside Wisconsin Sports on your favorite podcast platform or go to wisportsradio.com. Trevor and Josh, Inside Wisconsin Sports. Time for today's most electrifying sound of the day.
It's time for
The most electrifying
sound of the day
The most electrifying
on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
Welcome back. Who drove over here? Quick, let me see your hands. Who took the bus? Did you have fire in your gut? Did you? We're here for a reason. Don't get that twisted. Okay, we're here for a reason to win games. So if you didn't have that fire in your gut, you better light the fire pretty fast. Be who you are. Just understand, I'm looking for killers.
What?
And that was the least electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Hey, remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress, connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. That is your new defensive coordinator, Green Bay Packers, Mr.
What
Gannon.
was that from, Josh?
That was like, from what I saw, it was like a hype-ish video. I thought it was like a Hard Knocks thing originally. But
Was it not?
Well, maybe it was, but it didn't say that in the video. I got it from Twitter of him addressing the Arizona Cardinals as the head coach of the Cardinals. And that was him trying to hype up the players, which is the point of what I was trying to talk about with he could be a brilliant mind when it comes to the game of football, right? I think that Matt LaFleur is a brilliant mind when it comes to the game of football. It does not mean that you have that leadership, whatever you need to motivate men to do what they need to do at the highest level. That, if I was sitting in that room and that's what he's saying, I'm going, did he think we could win to Taco Bell? What does he mean fire in the gut? Why does he care? Why does he care how I got here? What's going on? I'm completely confused. I'm not amped. I'm not hyped at all. I'm definitely not ready to run through a wall for that guy. And so when we had Micah Parsons, what did Micah Parsons say? He said, it's not on the coach. It's on the players. The players have to motivate themselves. Man, now more than ever, do we need that to be true? Because I don't think these players are getting any help from their defensive coordinator.
The 830 says, guys, there's a Johnny Rah-Rah in Detroit. Did they make the playoffs? No. NFL is now, where's my paycheck? Hafley was no good without Parsons. Maybe this is a home run hire. There's a lot of optimism coming in at this stage in the game on the Nicolay Law fan talking text line, 414-677-1250. Justin from the Port, I say, let's see this play out and see what happens. No? I mean, yeah, we don't have a choice now, Jake.
That's what's happening, bud.
Ron, Rome, I remember the media complaining about hiring a college coach nobody heard of when they hired Hafley. I kind of remember that too, Josh.
Yeah, there was that, but then people that looked at what he was, and then when we heard him in his opening presser, all that changed. And that's what I'm talking about. It was that ability to motivate. You motivated the fan base, you motivated the players, you had us ready to run through a wall. I'm not feeling that with Gannon.
The 773, Mark and Eagle. Is it possible that Leonard told the Packers that his first choice would be to follow Harbaugh to New York, or since Vance Joseph has a head coaching job in his near future, will he become the next defensive coordinator in Denver? That is probably the most plausible thing I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, either could be true. We don't know. We don't, not that we would have ever known. I mean, I guess we'll see how things play out now that the Broncos season is done. But unless someone comes out and says it, we're not going to know what conversations, if any, took place between the Packers and Jim Leonard because they didn't interview him.
Well, that's very much like the Packers organization. We're definitely going to find out if they talked or not at all.
Right.
Much like we are never going to find out what the contract is for Matt LaFleur or whatever Goody and Russ Ball signed. I mean, that's just the way they operate over there.
Hey, I have a question. What about Al Harris? The 920 here says, what about Al Harris? I thought he would have been a good choice. They interviewed him. Yeah, I mean, that's true, right? I was confused at what we didn't like about Al Harris. We want someone who can show aggressiveness in the secondary. We know that the Packers desperately need that in the secondary. He's a former Packer and a former player. He should understand the mindset and what it means to be a Green Bay Packer, hype up players. There were definitely enough pros in the pro-con list where I could have seen Al Harris being the hire and gone, okay, I'm fine with that. Maybe I'm not as happy about it, but I'd absolutely be fine. Way more than Gannon for me personally.
For what it's worth, I really hope Jim Leonard becomes the next head coach of the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry, next DC of the Denver Broncos, because he's waited for a job to open up in the past, and that didn't work for him. He was supposed to be the coach at Wisconsin.
Right.
Luke Fickell.
Right. You would think he deserves his time.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. Our guy is here, Jonathan Gannon, the new defensive coordinator for your Green Bay Packers. The AFC and NFC championship games were yesterday, Josh, and you and I literally not one time mentioned it last week.
Nope.
That's how much we didn't really care based on the Packers not being involved. But there are some Wisconsin ties, and Devontae Adams played. So there's a thing or two to cover. The Snow Bowl in Denver yesterday with all the things there. So now who do we root for? Because you have to have somebody that you root for in this game, right? You want somebody to win. I'm not the parent. Oh, we're just hoping nobody gets hurt and everybody has fun.
Right.
No.
I hope everyone has fun.
That's not what my betting slip is going to say.
Right.
I haven't seen the opening line, Josh. Have you? If not, we'll look it up over the top of the hour and let you know who's favored. But I haven't seen one. Have you?
No. I haven't seen anything. To be honest with you, I haven't gone looking. Like you just mentioned, these two games, I was looking for juice. How can I get myself more excited about these championship games? And now I'm asking myself the same question. How can I get myself excited about this Super Bowl?
There's Wisconsin ties, and I know that people struggle to root for Seattle because of the whole NFC Championship game debacle. Not me. I've actually been out to Seattle. I think it's a gorgeous area. That stadium and the 12th man that they got a really big push from yesterday, that's epic stuff. It actually got me thinking, too, and I wonder if this is a topic that we can cover later in the week, Josh. The 12th man's pretty cool. That's a pretty unique way of addressing your fan base.
Sure.
If the Packers were to come up with something like that for us as fans, what should it be? I know that a while back they tried the G-Force. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Has there ever been anything else that remotely came close to sticking in regard to what we as Lambeau Field Packer fans would be known? Can you remember anything?
Well, just like I feel like we're cheeseheads. Like that's. But
is that all Wisconsin sports, though? That's not just Packers fans, right?
Oh, no, I definitely associate it with the Green Bay Packers.
But they don't
if you're a
address us
cheesehead,
as
you're a
that.
Packers fan.
That's fair. I can see it. And they don't ever address us as that.
No.
The Packers don't come out and say, all right, cheeseheads.
Right.
Let's do this thing.
Right. The PA announcer says, all right, Packers fans, let's hear you. It's third down. Let's make some noise. Right.
Yeah. What should it be? We're going to talk about that later in the week, I think. Give us a day or two or three to think about it and try to come up with something.
Calm down about Gannon. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, maybe Thursday.
Yeah. Might need a few
Thursday.
days.
Figure it out. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk in text line. Coming up next, we do it every day, and especially on Mondays. The coffee is getting settled in. It is time to get things off your chest and out of your head. The Monday edition of the Morning Mind Dump is up next. Who are we rooting for in the Super Bowl? Patriots, Seahawks. There's Wisconsin ties to both. Plus, we watched Devontae Adams be not so super excited about where he's at in his career. 0 for 5 in the NFC Championship games. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. Wisconsin, let's get some things off our chest and out of our head. The morning mind dump is next. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up, I'm home. Whoa!
No safety deep. Oh, here he goes. He can try to beat him with his legs. Ellis runs after him, and May got there. Drake May outraces the defender.
And the aggressive call by Josh McDaniels sends New England to the Super Bowl.
8 seconds left. Loading up near side Nakua. Is he out of bounds?
Oh, my God.
With 3 seconds.
He's
They're going to run the clock. That's going to do it. The Seahawks soar to Super Bowl 60.
The end of both the AFC and NFC championship games yesterday, courtesy of CBS and Fox. You know what I didn't hear? Anything Green Bay.
Well, yeah. Didn't plan on hearing anything Green Bay.
I know, just sucks. My son was like, God, I wish the Packers were playing. I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so after the Seahawks game, they did that ad that they run sometimes. It's like, Seattle, your team has made it to the Super Bowl. Get your championship gear now. And they like throw it up. And I saw the hat, and the hat looks so good. And I was like, damn, that's a good looking hat. And I was like, wish it was a Packers one. And Julie goes, it isn't. And I was like, thank you. Yeah, as if I didn't know. Yeah, well, where?
What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in. Happy Monday. We're inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Hi, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Join us, would you? 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. All right, let's get it out. Here we go.
The coffee has kicked in. We're awake and ready to roll. Let's get some things off our chest and out of our heads.
You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm in a glass case of emotion!
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We've got no food, we've got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off!
It's time for the Morning Mind Dump on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Sometimes it's just not good to carry things with you, especially on a Monday. So no matter the topic, could be Packers not playing in the Super Bowl or, frankly, playing yesterday. Could be Giannis and all the things cooking with whatever he's got going on again. Could be the Badgers blowing it yesterday. Could be literally anything. Get it off your chest and out of your head. The Morning Mind Dump is upon us on Inside Wisconsin Sports. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. A buddy of mine, Jason in the 920, used to call this back in the day, what grinds my gears?
Yeah.
You know what? This is what grinds my gears. And I believe we had a buddy that was doing the morning show at UW Whitewater on their college radio station. And he used to call hammered overnight and leave voicemails going, you know what? This really grinds my gears.
Sure.
So that's part of the inspiration of the Morning Mind Dump. What's grinding your gears, Wisconsin? What do you got to get off your chest? Josh, is there anything grinding your gear? Tell me how you're feeling about Giannis. That's what I'm trying to ask.
I don't want to talk about Giannis.
Well, I don't care. Your job is to talk.
Okay. So Giannis is not my Morning Mind Dump. And I'm avoiding it as much as I can because I'm honestly like, I'm tired. I'm just tired. I've been going to battle for Giannis, knowing that Giannis isn't helping me in that war. And more than that, I'm seeing the end result. And there's just, it's ugly all the way around. Whether they get rid of Giannis, it doesn't fix anything. If they keep Giannis, it still doesn't fix anything. There's so many problems within this organization, and it's just making it really hard to look forward to the future and go, yeah, I'm going to want to really dive all in on the Bucks for years to come. And that's that's really hard to deal with. And so luckily the Bucks aren't the only team in the Wisconsin sports landscape. And so I'm just pushing it off, and especially knowing that I'm going to have an answer, right? Where he's either going to get traded before February 5th or he's not. And if he isn't, then he's here. And then I know that he's here. It doesn't matter what Shams puts out or who says he's unhappy or what we see on the court or it's over.
He's
It's
here
too
for
late.
now. He's here for now.
Sure. I mean, they'll still find, ways to put out articles saying, Giannis upset he wasn't traded before trade deadline. What does this mean for the Bucks and Giannis going forward? Like, yeah, that whole thing will still exist, but I can ignore that and go, yep, that's a problem for future Josh, because nothing can be done about it now. So it is stressful looking at it over the next 2 weeks, but at the same time, it's like, okay, we know the options. Either they're going to trade him within 2 weeks or they're not. Okay, so I'm just going to sit back and watch the dumpster fire continue.
What if that's not your morning mind dump? What is?
Oh, I'm still in on this Gannon thing, man. That's the thing that's the most stressful for me, is because I don't want to be pessimistic. I want to be realistic, and I'm looking for all of the points, but I'm probably allowing the fans on Twitter and everything to play too big of a role, in my opinion, and feeling on Gannon, knowing that they're not paid to make these decisions. They are fans on Twitter. And I'm not telling them how to fan, but like when I see an Eagles fan laughing or a Bears fan laughing at the Packers' decision to hire Gannon, when I'm seeing people go, oh my gosh, the Packers hired Gannon, Ben Johnson gets the scheme against Gannon, yes, let's go, that doesn't make me feel good. When I see Eagles fans go, oh, I don't know about that one, Packers fans, you're not going to get what you think you are, that doesn't make me feel good. And then when I hear Gannon speak himself, that doesn't make me feel good. And then when I hear people break down and say, yeah, he's not a super aggressive defensive coordinator, that doesn't make me feel. So I'm out here trying to put it all together. But if I'm trying to get it off my chest, I'm saying I'm frustrated because, Trevor, there's not enough positive here for me on this balance, this seesaw of trying to put together a true opinion on Gannon as the new DC.
Okay, let me help. Josh, I sent you some audio with Coach Sirianni from the Eagles. This is the right time to play it. This is an opportunity for us to hear right from a guy who was in charge of, I believe, bringing him to Philadelphia as their defensive coordinator. He can hopefully put this to bed for you. Here's Coach.
Sometimes I have to hear like some things about Jonathan Gannon. Like, this guy is an unbelievable coordinator. The fact that he doesn't get respect blows my mind. It blows my mind. And I know you work at the radio station too, so I'm not even going to say anything about you, but like, it blows my mind. This guy is an incredible coordinator. The people love to play for this guy. Like, and listen, you want me to keep going?
I think you made your point.
That's my saving grace, man. Sirianni's a pretty good head coach. And the way I look at this from his perspective is, if he's in, then I think we should be in. I mean, he was part of a Super Bowl team. Now, granted, did his defense kind of blow it? Yeah. But he's a guy that apparently deserves respect. And the way he said that was very like, I don't get it. I don't understand what you guys are looking at. What?
Do you know what it sounded like to me? Everything that everyone was saying about Matt LaFleur. I can't believe that people are questioning if Matt LaFleur is a good coach, like saying that Matt LaFleur is on the hot seat. Remember Rodgers, all these people saying how good of a coach Matt LaFleur is. And yet as fans, it was very difficult for us to go, you're right. He's a great coach. I don't know what we were thinking. And that's why I'm looking at this hire and I'm like, this is like Matt LaFleur Jr. It's like, I'm not denying that he's a brilliant football mind. I'm saying something's missing. Something's missing from him the same way that it's missing from LaFleur. And I feel like Hafley brought a little bit of that counteracted, that filled the holes that Matt LaFleur had. I don't think the Gannon fills those holes. I think that it's a pretty rinse and repeat copy, but now just in charge of the defense.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. Call us, text us. We're going to take your feedback all morning about the new defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, Jonathan Gannon. Somebody earlier, Josh, texted in and said, what does Parsons think? Remember, Micah Parsons said toward the end of the season in his postseason press conference, not toward the end, it was at the end, that he wanted a guy that was going to make the players kind of get after it, if you will. A player's coach. Well, that's also what I heard from Sirianni right there, going, the guys love to play for him. I think that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is too. And that's why I'm hoping, right? It's just this, it all goes back to hope. You said the game plan is hope. I'll never forget.
No, it's
that.
a strategy. It's a great strategy. Hope is a great strategy.
Well, it's also the only one I have right now in regards to Gannon. Right? We go to the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. I got the 262 here that said, Josh allowing Bears fans to get into your head soft as a marshmallow. I'm saying you can still go to the fan reaction. How did we react when Ben Johnson became the head coach of the Bears? Were we going, ha, ha, ha? We went, damn. All right, that might have been a good hire. It's being a realist and going, man, if it just sucks that they're not scared. The enemy isn't looking at this and going, oh, that doesn't help things. When the Packers got Micah Parsons, the rest of the league went, oh, crap, that's not good, because they knew that the Packers just got better. If I, as a Packer fan, am questioning this, and I'm seeing that no one else across the NFL landscape is scared or nervous because the Packers hired Gannon, yeah, that has me a little bit more worried. I'm taking that into account.
The 608 says, I'm actually for the Gannon hire. Here we go. The guy performed with good players, albeit, but in Philly, he was good. He needs to redeem himself. So what better time than with the Green Bay Packers and when we need it most?
Okay. Yeah. Again, I hope I see it. I hope that the time that he was with Philly wasn't just the fact that there was incredible talent in Philly and that it was coaching. It did come down to coaching that made them what they were. Because when he had a difficult team surrounding him, when he didn't have that stellar defense in Arizona, he was really bad. It did not go well as a head coach.
I've also been processing this over the weekend with this hire. You and I talk all the time that we want Matt LaFleur to be that you-rah-rah, run-through-the-wall type of head coach.
Mm-hmm.
The same goes for when you listen to Jeff Hafley get introduced as the Dolphins head coach, and you're like, it was. That's him. That's the guy. That's what we were looking for.
Yep.
Now Matt LaFleur goes out and from the outside looking in, gets a guy that's very much like him. Very cool, calm, collective, not run through a wall, to your point, football nerd. You ever listen to Adam Stenovich talk? Not a lot of you-rah-rah there either.
Correct.
What we want out of our coaches reminds me of having a conversation with a college basketball coach who is so crazy, nerdy, dialed in that you can't even quite figure out what they're saying, let alone what their personality is. Do we want that as our coach? Are we looking for the engineer? You ever meet the woman that is just flamboyant as all get out, bubbly, huge personality. I mean, owns the room. And then you look at her and you kind of turn your head like a puppy and go, "Oh, you're married to an engineer, aren't you?"
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Do we want engineers? Is that what we're looking for? Are the players our bubbly people, and are they married to engineers? Is that what we want in our coaching staff? I think I might be coming around on this. I think we want engineers. And so if there's a reason that Matt LaFleur went out and got Gannon, it's because he believes he's another engineer. Why would Rich Bisaccia keep his job? You saw what happened yesterday in the Rams game. Sean McVay fired their special teams coach in December. And what cost them the game yesterday? Special teams.
Yep.
Clear as a bell.
Oh, God, that was brutal, too.
There's a lot of points in the season where you could look to the Packers special teams and go, man, now, but pause. Back out of this for a hot second. I might be coming around on the whole, the players got to execute thing. Like at the end of the
yeah.
day, we're going to put the plans in place as a coaching staff. Matt LaFleur, Jonathan Gannon, almost called him Rich, Adam Stenovich, which, by the way, we're still in the window. I said it last week. We're still in the window of when we would expect to see change on the Green Bay Packers coaching staff. I was hanging my hat on that they needed to bring in the defensive coordinator prior to there being any major change, because you need that guy to be part of the conversation and what the team needs to look like moving forward. He's here, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that gets announced today, and there's some sort of press conference within the next 24 hours that says we got our guy and away we go. We're going to blink and OTAs will be here. Super Bowl 2 weeks from yesterday, and then it's officially the next season. I know I'm stating the obvious, but at some level, I want to analyze this now in the offseason and go, all right, engineers, if you are the ones that have the puppet masters and you want to build this team full of hardcore football knowledgeable people that have grit and grind and apparently fire in their stomach or whatever that was.
In their gut. Yeah.
Then hopefully we've got our guys. But I also saw a lot of reports from over the weekend. This is Matt LaFleur's make or break hire. There's no getting out of this one.
Right.
This will be the guy that they look to and go, Matt, that's what got you the big contract. Thanks for being here in Green Bay. Or, Matt, you had your chance. Bon voyage.
100% agree. I 100% agree. I think, too, something that was frustrating was just, like, it wasn't like they didn't let him leave the building. They interviewed Gannon, and they were so excited. It made it seem like they interviewed him, and then then the reports came out of there being mutual discussion between Jim Leonard and Matt LaFleur and the Packers wanting to, and so you went, okay, and so you still thought, I think I would have felt a little better about it, too, if it would have been, this was Matt LaFleur's guy. He was never going to let him leave, but we didn't get that either. And so all of us put it all out on waiting for the championship games, and then it comes out right beforehand.
Someone earlier on the Nick Lay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250, said this was a tough Wisconsin sports weekend. Well, we see that, and we challenge you to find some good. We'll share some good with you next as we break down the Wisconsin sports weekend, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What would you say was the ugliest moment from the weekend in Wisconsin sports, and what were some of the good moments? Because there were some. Look at our friends in the Horizon League giving us hope. Phenomenal strategy. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are inside Wisconsin sports with Trevor and Josh. Hang here. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tell me something good, Wisconsin. That's the idea of this, the good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend that was Wisconsin sports. You know, Josh, we talk a lot about GB basketball and the Horizon League in general because of my personal ties to the program here in Green Bay where I'm at WNFL. And we get a lot of heat for that. Oh, geez, here we go, talking about Green Bay basketball again.
It's a perfect impression, by the way.
That's what it sounds like to me when I read those texts. Well, guess what, kids? The Horizon League is the only feather in our cap from the weekend here in Wisconsin.
It is the ray of sunshine. That's it.
UW Green Bay beats Robert Morris 71-67 over the weekend on Saturday. They are returning home this week, Friday, against Cleveland, not a state, 6 o'clock at the Resch Center. So there's a good dub for a Wisconsin team.
Needed it.
There's also an incredible story out of UW Milwaukee and the UWM Panthers men's basketball team. Last week, Thursday, our guy Lance Allen at CBS 58 in Milwaukee put out an incredible story of connecting John McLaughlin and his creation of the MAC Fund back on the very floor that is in Panther Arena 49 years ago. Playing for the Milwaukee Panthers men's basketball team is a student athlete named Stevie Elam. Stevie, much like Mr. McLaughlin, battled cancer when he was a kid. Kidney cancer when he was a kid. He says in the story that there are a lot of times and memories he has about going in, having doctor appointments and getting chemo. It's a fantastic story that, well, let's just be honest, deserved a fantastic ending. There was a winning shot in the UWM game this past weekend at Youngstown State. UWM won 65-64. I'll give you one guess who had that winning shot.
Bounce it back out to Nelson, 15 to shoot. They lob it to Dawkins. It's knocked loose and stolen by Elam. Gives to Milwaukee's Dorcius. 12 seconds in the game. Ball thrown to Elam, 10 seconds. To the lane, scooped it up and in with 7.7 seconds to go. Penguins got to go. Carroll up the far sideline. Carroll into the forecourt. Carroll, open baseline jumper. Left it short. Ball grab by Aguilar. Milwaukee heaves it down the floor, and they win it in shocking fashion.
Because, of course, it's just how life works sometimes.
Yeah, amazing. That's the goosebump stuff right there, you know? Yeah,
those stars align. Yeah. So look at us. Good news out of the Horizon League, the one that we talk about specifically every Wednesday at 8 a.m. with Coach Doug Gottlieb here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. A phenomenal segment that if you haven't caught on to yet, you need to. We talk about Wisconsin sports because that's what we do. We talk about GB men's basketball. And then, frankly, whatever else Doug Gottlieb has rattling around in his head. And sometimes there's a couple things. Other times there's like 17. And the segment goes from, 18-ish minutes to 35. And then we go, oh, crap.
Yeah.
And we forgot we were hosting and we're just being fans.
No, it's hard, to stop that segment when we're on a roll. We go, we'll push some stuff.
Right, exactly. So there's the good. Now what's the bad? Well, we talked earlier that the Badgers blew a lead this past weekend and took a step backwards. Badgers basketball, that is. And we're wondering if the bad is some of the gut reaction of Jonathan Gannon being the new defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. We talked in the last segment about how it's reasonable to think that Matt LaFleur is trying to surround himself with engineer mindsets, these amazing minds of football, knowing that we all believe at some level that he's a really good offensive mind. His play calling under scrutiny. But here we go with Gannon, who apparently, Josh, is a really defensive-minded guy.
Right.
Brad in the 414 texted in on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. Trevor is now a fan of having coaches that are 0% dog. That's such a bad take that I bet Trevor could talk himself into anything, even a timeshare in North Dakota.
Hey, I've heard there's beautiful areas in North Dakota.
I love the Dakotas. So there you go, boss.
Yeah.
We're talking about spring break coming up. If you, obviously we all know, like literally everybody that's ever heard Josh talk knows where he's going for spring break.
What is that? Where? Yeah, we're going to Disney.
Disney, yeah. We'll go to Disney at some point, one time with our boys. My family went in the past. I wasn't able to be along for that ride, but we're going to try to do that one more time. However, we absolutely love the mountains. Love the mountains. We are not, let's go to Cancun type people. We are, let's go to South Dakota and the Needles Highway and Mount Rushmore. Or this spring break, we're going down to Gatlinburg, Tennessee and the Smoky Mountains. So, Brad, if that was trying to be a dig, you missed, boss, because you are exactly right. What I'm trying to do, though, is process the bad reaction that we've been talking about all morning. Because when the hire came out, when it was announced over the weekend, or at least reported, because it hasn't officially been announced by the Green Bay Packers yet, I thought the reaction was kind of bad. But I couldn't quite understand why. Was it that he failed as a head coach in Arizona? Was it that he didn't show us in the Super Bowl with the Eagles? I mean, what was it? Was it the idea that we were hoping it was going to be Jim Leonard, and that's what everybody did, you know what, in our Cheerios? Like what, Josh, if you could pinpoint something here, what do you think that was the reasoning behind such a bad reaction, at least off the cuff, for Jonathan Gannon?
Yeah, I think that no matter what, there was going to be negative reaction, because that's what fans do, is first they overreact to something they don't know. That's what we do naturally as fans. However, I think that the first initial reaction was all based on comparison. It was comparing Gannon to Hafley and what we had in Hafley, and then immediately looking at the other options that were out there and comparing him to Leonard and Harris.
But how do we combat what we had in Hafley with 0-5 without Micah Parsons?
Correct. Right. I mean, I was saying that at the end of the year, that it's not like Hafley went out there and put on a show when he didn't have Micah Parsons. He didn't. They still failed. But I think that they still overall were happy with who Hafley was and how Hafley presented himself. And so I think that the same way that Brewers fans immediately went and were looking up highlights of Sproat and Jet Williams when they were hired, when they were traded, and not knowing anything about him to form that initial reaction, they're doing the same thing for Gannon. They're going, Gannon, all right, they hired Gannon, click. Oh my God, this guy, and then they're forming that initial reaction. And I think that it's all based on what you had. That's the only way that I think that it's even somewhat valid, is if you're looking at what you had in comparison to what you have.
Aaron Nagler was spot on with this one. When he laid out the list of the potential 7, he said it's going to end up being a guy that none of us think should be the guy. And Jonathan Gannon had that audio of him addressing the Arizona Cardinals circulating the internet for some time. And when I saw it, I immediately said to myself, well, that's definitely not the guy. Josh, do you have that audio? Can we play that again? This is Jonathan Gannon addressing the Arizona Cardinals when he was the head coach about the fire in their gut and whether they took a bus to work or something.
Welcome back. Who drove over here? Quick, let me see your hands. Who took the bus? Did you have fire in your gut?
What?
Did you? We're here for a reason. Don't get that twisted. Okay, we're here for a reason to win games. So if you didn't have that fire in your gut, you better light the fire pretty fast. Be who you are. Just understand, I'm looking for killers.
Well, and then he ends with that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's hard for me to hear that and buy in. I'll never forget when, in 2023, when Matt LaFleur, when the Packers were struggling to start that year, they were not doing well, right? They really turned it around to finish the year. They weren't doing well. And you saw Matt LaFleur go from, that's on me, we got to be better. And then there were a few weeks where he came to the podium and he was pissed. He was really upset. And I was like, you could tell he was trying to be tough coach, but it didn't work. you could tell it was fake. It was like, I'm not I get what you're trying to do, but I'm not buying it. I get that same feeling with Gannon. I'm like, I get what you're trying to do. Do you have fire in your gut? I'm looking for killers, but I'm not buying it. Hopefully the players are, but on the outside as a fan, it ain't working.
That's ultimately the only thing that matters here. Are the players going to buy this? Did Micah Parsons come out with, probably not, because it's not official yet, right? I mean, like, do these guys wait until the Packers make the announcements, or do they jump on what it is in regards to all of the reports? But that's the one I'm most interested in, is what does Micah Parsons say about this hire, knowing full well that he was quite loud towards the end of the season there. He made a tweet yesterday, but it had nothing to do with anything Packers related. He was watching the games yesterday. So I guess once they announce it, let's wait and see what he has to say. It's kind of I don't know if it's a bummer or if it's something that we shouldn't put as much weight into, but he's not bigger than the G. He's really, really good. I mean, Bill Huber put out an article over the weekend or late last week that there was a case that Micah Parsons could be the defensive player of the year after having missed the last 5 games with a torn ACL. That was fascinating. When I'm sitting there going,
yep,
that's interesting, because he really is that good. And yet our defense without him, not so good.
No. And anyone that's just another reason why that trade and getting Parsons is so big, because what we're looking for from, that leadership, that dog mentality, we're not getting it in coaches, but we have it in Micah Parsons. He's showing that. And that's huge. That's huge. If we can't rely on a coach to bring that to the players, thank God we have Parsons, who's out there, making the rest of the team run through walls, etc.
Here's a couple more takes on the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line, 414-677-1250. Brian in Hudson, about Gannon. Ex-NFL head coach is a plus, in my opinion. He's had to manage an entire team. Now just focusing on the defense. Also was a defensive backs coach. Will be a big help in a problem area for the Pack. I
agree with that.
Yeah, I did see that too, and was like, yeah, that's a good feather in his cap for sure.
Especially when you look across the rest of the league. Like, Robert Saleh got a job as a head coach again, but he did a great job in San Francisco as a coordinator after being the head coach of the Jets, right? I understand it's the Jets, but he was there, and then he came back to be a coordinator, and he's getting all of his flowers. And he's not the only one. We've seen that, across the league with a bunch of different ex-head coaches that end up finding their way back to coordinator positions, and those teams seem to be doing really well with that ex-head coach. Hopefully, it's the same recipe here in Green Bay.
Yeah, but in an apples-to-apples comparison, let's look at Robert Saleh and the way he is on the sideline. And then, not so much.
Sure.
Although, I believe there was a report at some point this past year that, didn't Jonathan Gannon punch a guy?
Yeah, there was like a video of him. I don't know that I call it really like he definitely made contact, but I'm gonna tell myself that wasn't a punch, because it wasn't a good punch.
Well,
It was a punch.
He had to write a check nonetheless. Gannon was fined $100,000, publicly apologized to the team, and then the NFL didn't add any discipline beyond that point. It was running back Imari DiMercato. He dropped the ball before the crossing the goal line on what looked like a long touchdown run, and after that, Coach Gannon got in his face and appeared to punch, strike, slap him in the upper chest or shoulder pad area while yelling. Whoopsies.
Yeah. Not great.
So he's got the fire in him, and just all kind of bubbles out at once.
Hey, one thing really quick before we get out that was good that we didn't touch on, and thanks to the few people who have chimed in about it on the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. Did you see the Admirals played in that outdoor game? It was in Minnesota against like the Iowa Wild, but it was like an outdoor AHL the hockey classic, and it was like -30.
Yeah, I did see that. -8, I believe it was, with the -30 wind chill. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
insane. And they won that game. So that's very cool.
Good call. Good call out. The Admirals are so not on the radar up here in, I don't know, the rest of the state. That's the hardest part about the Admirals. It really is. Like, do you think Wisconsin could handle an NHL team?
Yes. I think that they could. I think they'd love an NHL team. They won't get one because of the Blackhawks, but
is that why?
Yeah, apparently there's something in their contract with the NHL that says that it blocks a team coming to Milwaukee. At least that's what I've heard. There was a lot of talk about that when the Bucks were doing bad about let's get rid of the Bucks and bring in an NHL team, and it didn't happen. And that was one of the reasons I had heard. I can't back that up, but I'd heard that the Blackhawks have something in writing.
The good, the bad, and up next we'll cover the ugly with Giannis in the Bucks situation. Before we go to break, though, Josh, the 920 chimes in here. Something fascinating for you to process. Says, good morning, Josh.
Hi.
Let's try this. You're in the ninth frame of a very important bowling match. Do you want a teammate that yells and screams every week for 32 weeks? Let's go. Come on, Josh, let's go. Or someone that lets you focus on your game and high fives you when you roll 3 strikes in a row in the 10th. His point is, not everyone wants a yeller.
Sure. I understand that, but I'm not saying that I'm looking for my teammates to all be yelling at me in that situation. I'm saying I still want my bowling coach to get me fired up, to be in the right mindset, to want to be perfect because of their leadership. That's what this is if you're trying to make a comparison. And I'm not sure that Gannon is that coach. If Gannon's just going to go, well, I mean, you got to put the ball right there and get a strike. Okay, thanks, coach.
I will punch you.
Right.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Josh doesn't want to talk about it, but we got to address this Giannis thing.
Oh, we don't.
We're gonna.
Okay.
Next on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. The Packers are reportedly hiring former Arizona Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon to be their next D coordinator. Find out what the guys think on 9 to noon with former Packers fullback John Kuhn starting at 9 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, reviewing the good, the bad, and now the ugly from the weekend that was sports here in Wisconsin. Giannis is hurt yet again. When the news first broke, Josh, about all things Giannis and calf strain in his right calf and out 4 to 6 weeks, the first report I saw was that he blew his Achilles.
Yeah, I don't think anything's been confirmed, right?
Yeah, he's due for an MRI, which I think is today, if it wasn't yesterday.
Yeah.
But no news has come out in regard to how bad the injury is. So I guess the question, as we review how just bad this is for the Bucks and the future of the Bucks, is now what? Now it's hard to trade him. Not that it wasn't going to be hard to trade him before, but from a bounce back situation, meaning what do we get back for Giannis? We understand that the idea of the Bucks draft pick situation is, it doesn't exist pretty much.
Right.
So that's what we're going to have to get, along with a player or two to try to build on. But the problem is the Bucks aren't just what we would call one move away right now. They just don't play well.
No, it's almost like their head coach is like awful.
So I know we always try to fingerprint and put our finger down on something that is the problem. It has not been the problem for the Bucks all these years, outside of obviously Budenholzer in the championship at the head coaching position. We have to start admitting that building this team around Giannis isn't working.
I disagree so much.
Tell me more.
Giannis is the reason why the team was put in those positions. It was absolutely because we were building a team around Giannis. When we had Middleton and when they brought in Drew Holiday, and then when you had Dame and Giannis together, the problem is that in almost every single one of those situations, besides 2021, there were injuries. The injury bug, it came at the wrong time. And then
nobody's been more injured than Giannis.
But I'm saying, it wasn't every single postseason playoff run, was it that Giannis was the one that was out? It was Giannis was out or was in, but then you didn't have Drew, or Giannis was in, but you didn't have Dame, or it's been back and forth. The bigger issue is that whether it's Giannis or any other superstar, you can't keep going all in for a decade.
That's my point.
You can't. You have to have a year or maybe even two where you have a rebuild year. You can still rebuild around Giannis, but you can't have the coaching staff that you do. You can't have the mentality in the front office that they do. You can't have Bobby Portis sitting on the bench not being able to find a trade suitor for him. They've been talking about trying to trade Bobby for 4 years, 3 years, and they haven't been able to do it because no one wants him. These are the guys that you're left with when you keep going all in. And so when this news happened with Giannis, this was either best or worst. This made the extremes more visible for what's going to happen with the Bucks. If they decide either way, we don't care, even if he's injured, we got to get Giannis out of Milwaukee. If that's what the Bucks somehow decide, they're not going to get as much for him. They probably weren't going to get as much as they wanted for him even before he got injured, because the teams that would have the ability to put together this humongous package to throw at the Bucks don't need to do that. They are already doing okay. There aren't teams that are struggling that would want Giannis that have the ability to throw a boatload at Giannis. On the flip side, if you want Giannis to stay, the fact that he's injured might make it more easy to go, hey, this has got to be the year where we take a year off. We we're on the struggle bus, and we're going to struggle bus through the rest of this season, and we're going to use next year to rebuild. We're going to get rid of some of these other pieces. We're going to bring in people. We're going to do what we can to try to rebuild around Giannis. I think that the fact that he's not playing might help that. But yeah, there's definitely saying that building around Giannis is the problem is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. When they tried to bring in Dame to be the main guy and then Giannis goes out, they still weren't winning a bunch of games. It didn't work with just a Dame-led team. Building around Giannis is the answer. You got to have the pieces to build.
But I just don't think it's working anymore. It definitely worked with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, but I just don't think that we can literally pinpoint when building around Giannis has been in the best interest of the Bucks, especially the last 2, maybe 3 seasons.
I mean, you literally just said, you just gave reasons why it did. You just said working with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. Well, there wasn't a year. They didn't have a year. They put that together for 3 or 4. To be honest with you, I think the biggest thing was trading Drew for Dame, which we all said in the moment, who doesn't make that trade? But breaking that up because injuries happened between the big 3 and they never really had another shot to go out there, I think was the start of the downfall that we're in right now.
Very interesting that you bring up that who would need to put the package together to get Giannis. I don't think we've looked at that like that since this whole conversation started. What NBA team needs to sell the farm to get Giannis Antetokounmpo in their organization? And if that's the case, Josh, holy screwed are the Milwaukee Bucks. When is Giannis's opt-out year? Isn't that coming? Maybe 2 years?
Yeah, I think so.
Boy, buckle in. This could get interesting. All right, moving on. Baseball. Right around the corner. Let's talk to our guy, Tim Allen, the franchise. Joins us next live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
It's time for today's fan weather forecast brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. It's going to be sunny today, but the cold temperatures continue. Today's temps will get up to 11 degrees, and it's currently -1 here in Milwaukee. And this has been your Habish, and Rotier fan weather forecast.
I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't God that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up, I'm home. Whoa!
You guys remember the Yankee series? Judge didn't hit a ball below 105. He had like 7 homers in the first weekend. We had the biggest run differential in baseball history. True story. After 4 games, we got beat 11-0 on our home opener. It was beautiful. So I thought I was going back to college for sure, but they responded, and a great leadership. We got a guy named Yelich. We had another great leader and a guy named Freddie Peralta, who you guys might get comfortable with. They were hungry. They were aware. And you mix that together, hungry and aware, good things can happen.
Well, I didn't really appreciate them applauding for Freddie Peralta. I don't know about you.
The reason they were applauding is what made me upset.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in. That was Pat Murphy, of course, accepting his Baseball Writers Manager of the Year award over the weekend in New York, of course. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, we are inside Wisconsin sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
And joining us now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, one call, that's all. You hear the music. You hear him after every Brewers game on the baseball postgame show, and you hear him every Wednesday with our guy Tommy Wartz from 5 to 7. He is the franchise. Tim Allen joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Timmy, how was your weekend, buddy?
It was good. Pull up your drawers, shut the doors. It's getting a little bit closer to spring training here, Feb 12th. And look, what's the date today? 25th?
The 26th?
26.
26 today?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
We're getting there.
So Timmy, when we talked to you last, you were in it, my man, with the whole Freddie Peralta trade, and you didn't know really which way was up. Mm-hmm. How are we a few days later now?
Well, here's the thing. I think
still in it, Josh. He's still in it.
I know.
We have to trust. I think we have to trust. It's difficult though. It is when you're dealing with scientific info, when you're dealing with, hard demographics, not psychographics, when you're dealing with a 2.70 ERA and a 17-6 mark, and he's gone off the rotation. Those are the facts. That is gone. However, here's where the trust comes in. You trade Josh Hader the following year, you win the division. You trade Corbin Burns the following year, you win the division. You trade Devin Williams the following year, you win the division. So that's where the tug of war is, guys, for me is the facts say that you lost a stud pitcher, and that's going to hurt. But also the trust factor comes in that they've sort of done this before, losing, stud players, and they come right back and win the division. So you just have to wait.
Okay, but all of that being said, because I kind of, when we first talked to you, Timmy, last week, I was going, man, I'm kind of the opposite of Tim. I think that I kind of was expecting this, and I think the Brewers are going to be all right. And then I had the weekend to sit on it. And I was like, no, this was bad. This is bad. This is a mistake. And I was going back into kind of where you were, because I started looking at what the pitching rotation is going to be.
Yes.
And I guess maybe I was a little bit more ignorant at the time, thinking, oh, they're going to be fine, when there's a chance that they could be fine. But we are really hoping that some of these young guns are ready to step up. No?
To not like a trade doesn't mean you hate the team. To not like a trade doesn't mean that you don't love the Brewers, because it just, goes with the territory. And you mentioned the rotation there, Josh. Okay, so let's go over that for a second. Woody, Mizorowski, Priester. I think they're your front three. I would guess, right? That everyone's kind of leaning in that direction. Brandon Sproat, Gasser, Chad Patrick, Logan Henderson, Angel Serpa could be a possibility. Carlos Rodriguez, Aaron Ashby, DL Hall. See where I'm going here? It's we would like a rubber stamp. Here's the rotation. Boom, 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 boom. All five of them. There you go. You're off and running. It's just not the case right now. And then, Josh, to your point, compare that with Freddie Peralta on top. Now you got a little wiggle room. Everybody slides down a notch. That's tough. I mean, it's difficult. And I think the Brewers organization needs to understand that, where the fans are coming from. For those that are on that, ooh, yeah, this is not good side of the fence. I think they do understand that. And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, this is the way the Brewers have to function. I don't like it, but it doesn't mean I don't love the team.
Tim Allen, the franchise, joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Tim, you talked about how after those trades, we go and win the division. Yet last time we chatted, we talked about how trading Freddie Peralta does not make the Brewers more likely to win the World Series this year. So how do we celebrate and continue to celebrate division championships and making a little run in the playoffs, yet still not getting that elusive World Series appearance or even a ring? So help us process that, because I agree the division's great, but at the same token, it's like, well, for forever?
Shift gears now. Time to shift gears. The bar is a little bit higher. I'm with you. I'm with you, Trevor, that at what point do you shift that gear that says, division titles are good, or making playoff appearances, which I am overjoyed with, because I lived through 26 years of a playoff drought. So making the playoffs on a consistent basis, oh man, it's just, for me as a lifelong Brewer fan and little up on years, I'm not used to that. So now, over the course of nearly a decade, I'm getting used to it. And it's a great thing. But now, don't you have to push the pedal to the mat at some point that this is now the baseline? The baseline is not just making the playoffs. I mean, I remember the baseline where you didn't want to have a losing season, let alone make the playoffs. You just want to be above 500. So at what point does the baseline sit now? Now it's time to go forward. I don't know when that time is. I suspect it's soon. I do, guys. I suspect it's really soon, where instead of $115, $120 million payroll, one of these years, I think they're going to try it. I think Atanasio is going to try it. And I think he's going to say, bam, here's 150, 160. This is where St. Louis sits. We're going to try it this way now to see if we can shift that gear.
I mean, yeah, I'd love to see it. I do. I think one of the things for me, Tim, when I looked at this, though, was I don't know personally that Freddie was the only answer, right? Like if they kept Freddie and they didn't trade him and they ran it back, I still felt like the team was missing one piece.
It's okay to want more. It is, Josh. Absolutely.
And so for the idea of everyone saying, well, this should have been the year they went all in, or at the very least decided to not get something back for Freddie, I don't know that they still had the firepower that they needed, especially in the lineup, to get over that hump, get past the Dodgers. And so to me, that's what helped get past the fact that they moved on from Freddie. But it did, to your point, put us back in this bites of the apple mentality. And I don't know that necessarily we've moved off of that, but I definitely feel like the Brewers are choosing to live there.
That's the sustained success argument. And is that a good thing year over year? Is it a fun summer every year? Of course it is. It absolutely is. I mean, imagine you guys are going to be at American Family Field the summer of the 26 championship season. Of course you will. You're going to have some Brewer broadcasts, and we're going to be live at all these Brewer places, if you will. And we're going to be having a blast. And the Brewers are going to have a 5-3 tightly contested victory over the Cubs. And we'll be celebrating. Yeah, that's all good. And I'm with you guys. I am. I don't know if this is good enough yet. And again, I'm not saying I'm not having fun. I'm not saying the journey is good. See, I'm using all of these things that Brewer managers in the organization have said for a while. Boy, it's about the journey. Okay, check that box. Yeah, cool. Journey's great. Believe me, I talk about every game after the game. The fun factor, enjoy the ride. Remember that from Council? Enjoy the ride. And I was putting together a song that had ride in it as our theme song that year. That's all great. And make no mistake about it, a blast and smiling a mile wide. But then is this the pinnacle for the organization? Is this what, well, I can tell you this. This is what the business side of thing is celebrating. If you look at just the business side, look at the attendance. This is a market size, one would argue the smallest market in baseball. And yet they're averaging 30,000 a game, 30,000 81 times a year. The business side of it is absolutely overjoyed with this. Would they make that much more money if they go to the World Series? Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of debate about how much truly a playoff appearance and a World Series appearance does actually get you. Yeah, it's going to sell some merch. Tickets oftentimes are shared with the league. That doesn't all go to the Brewers. That's shared with the league. Well, they make money as merch and parking and concessions and all that stuff. But that's the true question. Is the organization content? They're going to tell you no. But from a business standpoint, I'd be overjoyed.
Right.
Look at this. 30,000? Come on. In this market, all the Jackson Churio jerseys that are sold on a nightly basis. I want to shift the gear. I do, guys. And I've said it for years. It's time for me. I don't know when that time is for the organization.
Tim, we go to the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250, where the 715 says, boy, you guys are going to hate us trading Contreras next year. And he is right. I sure am.
Yes. Yes, we will. Of course.
But
yeah.
No, tell me that can't be the time. Tell me that Contreras can't be the guy, the next guy like Yelich that we go, no, we got to keep Contreras.
Look what Realmuto just signed for 3 years, 15 a year. You can't afford. You just paid Reese Hoskins 17 per year for 2 years. They can afford a catcher's contract,
right?
That they will. The deal is it in the DNA, and is he getting advice from his brother?
Sure.
Who does
There's
not
that.
like Milwaukee?
Well, there's that.
I think that plays into it. I do. And I don't blame him if he wants to go to a bigger market. I don't blame these players, not at all. They've worked their tails off to get to the point where it's total free agency, not as arbitration years, not as Super 2, not anything like that. They want total free agency when you're a star player in Major League Baseball, and I congratulate them on a personal level. We'd all do the same thing. However, at some point, winning the World Series might be pretty important to me too.
Tim Allen joins us on Inside Wisconsin Sports on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. All right, so if this is not a rebuild, it's definitely a reload.
Yes.
It came out over the weekend, the new top 100 in the MLB's pipeline, and there are 5 Brewers, at least baby Brewers, on this list. Jesus Made at number 3. Luis Pena at number 26. Jet Williams, 51. Cooper Pratt's number 64. And then Brandon Sproat, ironically, at number 100. So let's go back to my land of optimism, shall we please? This is going to be a good season of Brewers baseball for the same reasons why these previous seasons have been good seasons for Brewers baseball. Much like the Packers mindset, we draft and or pick up and develop. So let's talk about the positive side of life. Having 5 guys in the top 100 is a good thing, Mr.
Great
Allen.
thing. It's a great thing. And you're seeing that come to fruition. When you go back years, Trevor, and look at that top 100 list, you're seeing guys now really sort of hitting their wheelhouse now of a Bryce Terang and a Sal Frelick and a Jackson Churio, 2, 3, 4 years in the league for these guys, William Contreras. These guys, there will be organic growth without question. And there'll be surprises that will look back and we'll say, holy, wait a second. Sproat is our 26th version of Quinn Priester last year. Look at this dude. He's dynamite. Got to remember, Quinn Priester came out of nowhere and won. I think the Brewers won 19 consecutive games when he appeared in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just win beyond. So those are the surprises, and that organic growth from these players that were highly touted years ago, top draft choices that have now matured. They've gone through the rigors of the minors. They've gone through the mistakes they've made as a first and second year player. Now it's go time, and they will get better. I mean, Sal Frelick is not going to continue to hit duffers on the infield. Although if he gets on base, I don't care where he hits it. But
right.
Bryce Terang, look at the leap he took. I mean, so you're right, Trevor, in that the farm system keeps churning these guys out. And what if, let's just say for the sake of the argument, what if one of those guys turns into the new Jackson Churio? Because I think Churio has a chance to, blossom to superstardom, not just a star ball player, star outfielder in Major League Baseball, but superstardom. They get another one of those in a Made or Pena or Pratt or whoever it might be. I mean, they're often running with controllable players, and that's where that fun comes in. That's where that optimism comes in. I don't think we're going to have to. Here's the optimistic side of me too. I don't think we're going to have to worry about this team anytime soon with that list there and what they've got on the field and controllable players. I don't think we'll have to worry about this team bottoming out anytime soon.
Timmy, do you think, really quick, last one for me here, do you think that we could see another Jackson Churio type of deal struck with one of these guys in the farm system?
I think that's the way to do it too, especially with a pending work stoppage and people want to get taken care of. And, I absolutely, it could be Contreras. I don't know. I'm just guessing on the Wilson Contreras thing, giving advice.
Well,
But
I'm talking about like Jesus Mate or Pena. One of these guys, like another example of hasn't had an at bat in the majors, but we're taking a chance because he's number 3 in all of the minors and those type of things.
Would you offer him a $10 million a year for 7-year contract right now, Josh?
I sure would.
See, and think about what he's going to make his first 3 years.
Right.
He's going to make $750,000 a year. Look at the raise he gets on that. But yet he's taken care of for 7-8 years. I think absolutely you could see that anytime now. You could. I don't know about Made this year, but next year at this time, I could see that happening.
Tim Allen joins us every Monday and every Friday from now until early November, we'll call it, when the Brewers win a World Series. How about that?
I will get over the Freddie Peralta departure. I will get over.
We'll get there.
Yes.
Hey, make sure to tune in today at 2:00. Our guy Tim Allen is filling in for Sparky today on Wisconsin Sports Daily.
Yes.
What do you think, real quick, on the way out of the whole DC thing with the Packers?
Again, I looked at 2021 and 2022 for Gannon. Look what he did in Philadelphia. Look at those numbers. Those metrics look really good. And he's got pieces to work with. I think the future's good. Finally at DC for the Pack.
You beautifully optimistic man, you.
I love it. Thank you, Tim.
All right. See
Tim
you
Allen. We'll see you on Friday.
Yep.
Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. When we come back, we'll continue to process it with you. So let's look at some of the good, shall we? Why is Jonathan Gannon the right move for Green Bay? We've all had our time this morning to go, I don't know. All right, Josh, join me in the land of optimism up next, would you please?
I packed a bag. I'm on my way.
We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. The Packers are reportedly hiring former Arizona Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon to be the next defensive coordinator in Green Bay. Find out what the guys think coming up 9 to noon with former Packers fullback John Kuhn starting at 9 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht, we are inside Wisconsin sports and have spent a lot of time questioning the move by the Green Bay Packers this weekend, reportedly, bringing in Jonathan Gannon as the team's next defensive coordinator. Josh, join me in the land of optimism for one segment, would you please?
All right, here we go.
I've put a list together of the top 5 reasons we should actually be happy that Jonathan Gannon is the Packers defensive coordinator.
I can't wait. Let's hear it.
Follow me here. Here's number 1. I'm just going to go down the list. Screw it. Number 1, he is built for the NFL's modern problem, that problem being explosive plays. We talked earlier, he loves this too high shell, disciplined spacing type defense. And if that's the case, that is very different than the too high shell, lazy zone, just make sure we keep a lead style defense that it felt like we played specifically in the latter half of the year and specifically post Micah Parsons. So if Gannon is a no explosive plays at all resorts, as long as it's not super lazy in the middle, I can get behind that.
Sure.
Awesome feedback. Number 2, he's already proven he can coordinate a top-tier unit on a contender team. Look, the Eagles' defense in 2022 was unbelievable.
Yep. Okay.
Take a guess where they ranked that year in sacks.
Number 2.
Number 1.
Okay.
70 sacks was the Eagles' defense in 2022. Why? Because they were violent up front. I don't know if you know who we have up front.
I do.
But violence is good.
It's true. That's true. I'm on board with that.
A healthy Devontae Wyatt back who's violent in his own right.
Yep.
Obviously, Micah Parsons. And can he, Jonathan Gannon, make Lucas Van Ness violent?
That would be great. That I'm on board with this. Okay. All right. That's 2 points.
Number 3, he's the ideal raise the floor immediately defensive coordinator. Here's what I mean. The Packers really struggled this last season with beating teams we should have beat. We were very inconsistent in cold weather games, and we could not avoid random defensive meltdowns. So, on the opposite side of that, Gannon's style is all of the things Josh and I talked about all year that we weren't. Structured.
Okay.
Disciplined, and repeatable. This is a guy that brings the stability and the consistency to the defensive side of the ball that it felt like the Packers really struggled to have. Okay, 2 more.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about and saw reports over the weekend that he doesn't necessarily marry himself to a scheme?
Yes.
That's because his scheme, finger quotes, seem to be what I would call fast, flexible, and very aware. So, let's break that down for a second. One thing that it feels like the Packers defense struggled with was adapting. Yet it feels like, based on history, Gannon's defenses can be flexible when they need to be. They also keep offenses guessing. He's not a blitz all the time and then not at all. We heard from Matt LaFleur when they played the Cardinals, Josh, about this very thing. Here's what Coach had to say.
It was I would say from an offensive standpoint, it was a very frustrating day overall in regards to they did a hell of a job of keeping an umbrella on the defense. There weren't many looks where we could throw the ball down the field. It was one of those dink and duck type games. Not that we didn't get a couple shots downfield, but they were playing pretty soft and took a lot of things that we wanted to do or that we saw on tape away, and just try to make us play perfect, which we were far from perfect. So give credit to them. I got a lot of respect for those guys. Gannon, I think, does a hell of a job. Rollis does a hell of a job. Like those guys are really good coaches.
Kind of the writing on the wall there when you go back and you look at it. Matt
And he
LaFleur
talked
liked him
about
back
that.
then. Yep.
Umbrella over the offense. And we talked about this earlier. Here's number 5. He's the rare hire who brings head coach level command without being the head coach. We even heard from this on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line just now. Garrett in Tomahawk. I've heard all the concerns too, but the dude was a good enough DC to get a head coaching job in the NFL. That's true. And so now we have Matt LaFleur, head coach, Jonathan Gannon, head coach. Those two combined, regardless of how dog they are or aren't in the public eye, I don't know how many other teams can say that fresh off of what was the start of a really good year for the Green Bay Packers. And so if you look at the defense post Micah Parsons, and Josh and I talked about it a lot, where we were hoping they were just going to be able to go and grab the defensive plan that it had in place, that Jeff Hafley had sitting on a shelf somewhere with a big pile of dust on it that said plan without Parsons. Just dust that thing off, and that's going to work, right?
You had to have it. You had to have it before the season started.
Well, unfortunately, that plan included, let's review real quick. I have my notes right here. Number 1, Kenny Clark.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't there.
Nope. Devontae Wyatt.
Nope. No, he also got injured, yeah.
Lucas Van Ness coming out of his shell this year.
Well, he was
he
injured
got
for
hurt
a while, yeah.
And what's his name? Rashawn Gary. I've never heard of him.
Well, I didn't see him. I didn't see him much out there. Right.
What's his contract situation?
That's what I'm saying too, right? Like we're still waiting for some of this fat to be cut from this team beyond the coaching staff. But I've been told to be patient, so I'm being patient with all of that. And
so based on my 5 reasons, can you get on the optimistic train for a hot second here?
Yeah, listen, the biggest one that you said and that we talked about earlier in the show is I think the fact that he has been a head coach and is going back into a coordinator role is a good thing. I think that there's something about just ex-head coaches having success as coordinators when they go back into a coordinator role and really dial into their specialty. I don't know that I'm 100% buying in fully to the, well, look what he did with the Eagles thing. I'm not discrediting it, but I don't know. I'm also going, okay, that didn't translate much when it got to him being the leader of the team, but it is a fact that he was there. So there are enough things to where I'm saying, okay, let's prove it. Let's prove it. I do think it's really interesting though, playing that audio that we played of Matt LaFleur and him talking about it and me going, okay, so because he did a good job against you was enough for you to go, I don't want to face that guy. I want to have that guy on my team. And then it just so happened that they stunk enough to where that thought became reality and Matt LaFleur jumped on it. It's interesting.
One other hot take. This is an honorable mention to my top 5 reasons why we should be optimistic about Jonathan Gannon.
Okay.
Honorable mention. I think he is going to tell Matt LaFleur something he rarely, if ever, hears inside the building from his coaching staff. Any guesses?
Mess up your hair. Don't use as much product.
How many people around Matt LaFleur tell Matt LaFleur no?
You don't think Hafley told him no?
If he did, it didn't show. I feel like the game plan with Micah Parsons was attempted to be run without Micah Parsons, and that didn't work. I feel like there's a chance Jonathan Gannon isn't the yes man that it feels like Matt LaFleur has maybe accidentally, but maybe intentionally surrounded himself with.
Yeah, I could see that. But also, I mean, I don't know. I think that if there's so much commonality between LaFleur and Gannon, I'm thinking maybe that was why he brought him in. I don't know that there's going to be much clashing. I think that they're going to see eye to eye on a lot of things, and we just might be frustrated with that as fans.
Josh, this segment was supposed to be optimistic.
I'm sorry. Well, I don't agree with that point. I don't think he's gonna be going at LaFleur and be this voice in LaFleur's ear saying, "No, Matt, no, you can't do that." I don't see that. I see it being a lot of, "Hey, this is what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking too. We think alike. Now let's go out there and do it." I think that's going to be a lot of what we see with the communication between the two of them. And that could work. And these could be two football nerds that really understand the game, that put it together and go out there. I'm just saying, somewhere we're going to be looking for, what is that motivation? What is keeping those players fired up? Hopefully it's the fact that they're playing in the NFL. That's what we're looking for. But any additional motivation, I'm not seeing from these two.
Well, listen, Josh, the 218 on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250, just brought up a phenomenal point.
No, he didn't.
Oh, my God. We're the only team in the NFL. Don't fact check this. I'm making it up. We're the only team in the NFL right now.
Yep.
That has 3 head coaches on our roster. Jonathan Gannon, Matt LaFleur, and it appears we're running it back. Rich Bisaccia.
Perfect.
That worked.
Perfect. What could go wrong now? Think of all of the brain power between the 3 of them.
We were doing so good in the optimistic train there for a hot second. And then you got all
They
excited.
have knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge. All I'm saying is that I heard way too often from Matt LaFleur after games, win or loss, well, I don't know. We had a great week of practice and we didn't execute on the field. That to me makes it seem like you have the knowledge to lay it out, whether it be him or Gannon or Bisaccia, whatever. You have the brain power to put together the plays. You're not getting the players to execute. Someone on the coaching staff has to be able to get a player to execute, whether it be Dobbs falling on an onside kick or a Matt LaFleur to getting these guys to line up the right way, or the defense to be able to stay on a guy in the back. That hearing, well, they did it in practice, so we told them what to do. They're not doing it. Yeah, it's because you don't have that guy that's keeping them focused and motivated. And Gannon, I don't think it's that guy either. So I'm still waiting. I'd like an answer to that, please.
It feels like when you packed a bag for the land of optimism,
No,
you
I had
forgot
it.
your CPAP on purpose.
Yeah, no, I had that bag, and then I went, I think I left something in the car, and I drove the hell out of there.
Well, it's good to have you for a minute anyway. Thanks for visiting. When we come back, our guy Rami from 9 to noon visits with us
great.
as we cross over
See what Rami
and
has
talk
to
about
say.
how pumped up he is about the defense. If he's excited about this, now I'm worried.
Yep. No, can't wait.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Reminder, Wisconsin, if you missed any part of today's show, you can listen anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Search Inside Wisconsin Sports on that app. Hit the follow button, and you can catch up on every episode, every hour, every highlight, whenever it works for you. Remember to follow Josh and I on Twitter at OnAirJosh, at Trevor Thomas IW. We're Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. And he is one half of 9 to Noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. That's Rami Makloff here with us on Inside Wisconsin Sports. All right, Bears fan, are you excited about Jonathan Gannon being the D coordinator for the Packers, or are you fearful?
I think it's a good hire. I think it's a good hire for the Green Bay Packers. I wouldn't say fearful necessarily, but that's a competent man at that position. And I know a lot of people will clown a guy because he got fired from a head coaching job and might be tainted in some people's eyes because of that. The fact he got a head coaching job because he was such a good defensive coordinator, to me, speaks volumes and speaks more loudly than the fact that he was hired as a head coach. There are plenty of guys in this league that are great coordinators and will never be a good head coach. Like that's just their ceiling. And I don't even know.
Are there connections there to being a sucky head coach? I mean, no. That's the worrisome piece for the Packers. Of course.
I don't think there is. I don't think there is. I think you can be a very good defensive coordinator and not be a great head coach. I'll use my experience as a Bears fan to illustrate that. And I love the guy and I don't want to bash him by any means, but I've heard multiple people say Dave Wanstead was the greatest defensive coordinator that they've ever seen, ever worked with, et cetera, and never translated to being a great head coach. He was good, I would say, for the Bears. He was good for the Dolphins and his stint at Pitt, but it never translated to being a great head coach. And he was eventually, fired from all three of those jobs. That doesn't mean he wasn't a great coordinator. You know what I mean? And I think one thing Gannon brings that this Packers team needs, there's a clip that went viral after the news yesterday of him pulling into the parking lot of the when they were playing they were playing the 49ers in the Super Bowl. And he pulls up and somebody has their phone out and they're recording Gannon and he opens his window and he goes, "We're going to bury these bleepers." I think he brings a little bit of that sort of that nasty, that toughness that maybe was missing with this football team.
Yeah, but the everyone's supposed to buy into it, right? Like, so
yes.
we played a clip of him saying something similar, right? When he was like welcoming players back for the season. And he said, "I'm looking for killers." That's what he said. Like, if you don't have that fire in your gut. And so the words were good, but the way that he said it didn't have me going, "Oh yeah, I'm ready to run through a wall for this guy." Now, again, I don't play NFL football. So maybe that did something for the players. Maybe that attitude, like what you're saying, will translate to the locker room in Green Bay.
Josh, what did you say earlier that it sounded like Taco Bell?
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, he's asking if I took the bus or if I drove and if I have fire in my gut. What do you think? I went to Taco Bell first? What's he talking about here? Like all sorts of confusion. But again, so Rami, kind of where I was at was Matt LaFleur is like a football nerd. He super gets the game. And he hired another football
well-manicured nerd. Yes.
And so like, it's just, we got two nerds that really understand football making the decisions and the play calls, which is good, but you still need to have the players buy into that. And I don't know that either of them brings that. We go to the Nicolay Law fan talking text. I want to get this in really quick. Schwartz Center chiming in. He said, "It's about effort and the will to give everything on every play. Coaches need to hold these guys accountable. Way too many times you see guys only giving half that effort. Not only Dobbs missing the onside, but X and I think he says Reed walking to the ball and not being there to cover up Dobbs like you are taught. Nixon stopping on the goal line in the playoffs and not hitting the running back. Gary ending pursuit early on plays. Nixon stopping on plays. It goes on and on and on." It's that point to where I'm like, we heard way too much from this team of saying, well, we executed it in practice, but we had a good week of practice. It didn't translate to the field. And I'm going, right, so if you have these nerds that can lay out these great plays, but you can't get the players to fully buy in and execute them, then you're missing that in your leadership. And I don't think they replace that with Gannon.
Micah Parsons to the rescue on that. I mean, he signed up for that job at the end of the season.
Sure
So
did.
hopefully this is somebody that we can look to and count on and go, all right, nerd, put the plays in order, make the adjustments we need, and let us take it from here. Did you guys see yesterday that the Rams on that muffed punt had already completely given up on the play?
No,
No.
I did not see that.
So reminder, the Rams fired their special teams guy in December. Go back and rewatch that. There was a camera angle where the person that recovered the muff punt, the guy blocking him, I don't know what that position's called. The guy that runs down, I thought he said something like flanker or something. I don't know. He stopped blocking him. He just completely gave up on the play. He was like, all right, well, I did my job. I hit him 2-3 times and I'm going to go and run off to the side. Like, moved on to the point where the second he muffed it, that was the guy that grabbed it. And I couldn't help but picture, to that texter's point, like Keyshawn Nixon just bailing on a play, or Rashawn Gary just jogging towards the sideline when somebody looked like they were going to go out of bounds. Hopefully Micah Parsons can be the guy, right?
You would hope so. I mean, he is the leader of that defense. I mean, the second he walks in the door, a guy who's that good is the leader of that defense. And I think that only grows the longer that he's in the building. So now a full year as a Green Bay Packer, and with that C on his chest, I imagine he's, and John Kuhn has been saying since the end of the season, and people pointing out some of the things that you guys have been pointing out, this has to be player led. Like the change in tone and attitude for this football team has to be player led. Not that the coaches can't preach it, but the players have to really take the message and sort of spread it out to their teammates. And I agree with him on that. I do. I think it has to be player led, and I think it starts with the Jordan Loves and the Micah Parsons of the world, and then we can go from there in terms of who else can be the voices in that locker room that turn things around.
Give us the Cliff Notes version on what's up from 9 to noon, Rami.
I mean, a lot of talking about the hire of Jonathan Gannon as defensive coordinator. Some really good, although one was sloppy, championship games over the weekend. We'll talk about those. It was another messy weekend for Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll get into that, obviously. So plenty to talk about here in the next 3 hours on 9 to noon. And obviously want to hear from the Nooners at 414-677-1250.
Joining us tomorrow on Inside Wisconsin Sports at 8 a.m. You heard last week on Friday from Bonnie Blair, the most decorated Olympic women's winter Olympic champion of all time. Remember the name Dan Jansen? You couldn't say Bonnie Blair without Dan Jansen.
Yep.
Dan joins us here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. The Winter Olympics are right around the corner. He's Wisconsin's own. He trained there in West Allis at the Pettit National Ice Center. He's got a pretty good interview to try to fulfill.
Yeah, shoes to fill from Bonnie for
guarantee it. He'll be in his car. Like, hey, what's up, guys? No gold medals anywhere near him.
Oh, come on, you don't know.
Torch on the wall. We'll see. Our thanks to Tim Allen, the franchise, for joining us today. Wisconsin, we will see you tomorrow live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Because we're not done yet.